So I would like to preface this video by saying I am depressed. I am very depressed. I currently have some people that are subletting a room in the house that I'm in. And it's just...
You can't hear it, but part of my wall is shaking.
Like, it's just like...
What is this noise? Is it all over my floor?
No, it's not.
Really?
This is a bad moment.
It just sucks. My home doesn't feel like my home anymore. And I'm so depressed and I don't want to be in my house anymore. Like, overall, these people are genuinely nice, but like, I can't live with them long term. I'm sorry. So I've been really depressed. I've been trying to escape a lot and try to escape out of my house. However, the Cruella movie recently came out and I was actually pretty excited for this one. And I wanted to challenge myself by creating a costume that was inspired off of Cruella de Vil. My inspiration for my Cruella was actually... I can't even remember her name. I am not there today. It was the actress who played as Cruella in ABC's Once Upon a Time. I think she was fantastic. God, she just looked like her and she just like eluded that presence. Don't get me wrong, Glenn Close did a fucking amazing job in her performance as well.
Just wait. You'll be sorry. You fools! You idiots!
I specifically wanted to recreate this picture. I really liked the gradient of like the black to white. I ended up flipping the colors, and then I also didn't have enough fabric to even do like a full-on jacket. So I made a fashion choice and did like a really cool vest instead. Anyways, my name's Fawn like a baby deer. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we're gonna make a Cruella inspired outfit. So let's get to it. Once I found the perfect pattern and got it to finally fit, I pulled out my fabrics, a long pile of shaggy faux fur and cream, some officially licensed 101 Dalmatian fabric from about 6 years ago, and because I knew I didn't have enough of that, I pulled out some satin bottom weight in a close enough red. It wasn't perfect, but it could do. Okay. The first piece I went to cut out was the collar, but I just was not paying attention. There really isn't instructions to these patterns, so I kept getting the color piece confused and screwed up my Dalmatian fabric immediately. I didn't do the thing I was supposed to do on this fabric, which is supposed to be like measure 3 times and then cut once. Because I definitely cut 3 times and now I have little to no Dalmatian fabric, so still was able to get what I wanted out of the Dalmatian fabric and ended up moving on to marking off the fur, which I had just enough of. Now, I'm not the best at working with fur. I know all of the tips and tricks, like cutting it with a razor, shaving down the seams after sewing. I even worked for a company that did practically full-on fursuits for theme park productions, and it's just a mess and a difficult endeavor, so I didn't do any of the tips and tricks at all. I kind of just did my own thing. I just sewed. I was very lazy and depressed. I don't know how I like this. Nothing's put together, but here are all the pieces. We'll figure it out. So far it looks like a Texas mom who like is also obsessed with Disney. I then sewed all of the fur pieces together, suffering the entire time. It's bad enough my allergies were already killing me, but the loose fur that I was consuming made sure it clung to my face and made its way into my lungs. Shut up, I love it. Once all of the fur was tamed into the outer vest, it was time for it to dye. I will probably dye like this much black. I want it to be a gradient, but we're just gonna see. Weirdly enough, I actually get a lot of people who ask me how to dye faux fur, and although there are many ways to do so, Rit Dye for Synthetics actually does an amazing and thorough job if you just follow the directions on the bottle. In this case, the dye took very fast, but I really wanted some type of gradient or ombre effect, so I did a couple of fast dips before setting only about half of the fur into the pot for about 30 minutes, and once that time was up, lifted it about a quarter of the way before leaving it in for another 30 minutes.
I rigged it up.
While the wet rat cooked for about an hour, I went ahead and got to work on the lining. Because I was super lazy with this project, I decided to do the bag method for the lining, which was to cut out the same pieces as the fashion fabric in the lining fabric, sew all the pieces as if you were making a separate jacket, but then put the wrong sides together, turning it out through the sleeves before finishing it all the way up. Even though I wasted a lot of my Dalmatian fabric from the collar debacle, I had just enough to add facing in the front. I did this by removing a portion of the lining fabric from the front and then cutting out the same piece in the Dalmatian fabric so I could sew that in place instead. So when you open up the jacket, you see secret Dalmatian puppies on the inside, and that's kind of cool.
I put almost the lining together. I still have the collar piece, but I think I'm gonna do that when I get this all in there. Okay. Lining together. Jacket has been dyed. It doesn't look that bad. It looks okay. When it dries all the way, I'll have to brush it out kind of, or whatever. Okay, so that's done. What I have to do is the belt, and then I'm gonna try and 3D print a belt buckle. I can do this.
I had been saying that to myself all week. It's been rough. While the vest was drying from the dye bath, I whipped up a 3D model of the belt buckle using the initials for DeVille. I was inspired off of the new Disney D belts that came out recently, which I might have to print one to make for myself later. I 3D printed it, and later that night painted it gold and quickly fashioned a belt out of the same material as the lining since I had a bunch of it left over.
Things I have to do today. I have to put the lining on the jacket. I have to fix the DeVille buckle because my fingerprint got smudged in it. And then I'm basically just waiting for the wig to arrive so I can do that, and then it's finished. The movie comes out tomorrow.
Like I said, the paint wasn't dry all the way, but my impatient thumbs were eager to touch the buckle and I ended up ruining them. However, I simply sanded the rough paint after it was fully dry and then repainted it, making sure to hold back my thumbs from touching it any further. The last bit that needed to be done was to attach the lining to the fashion fabric. I had contemplated on then top stitching afterwards, but I was reminded of that fursuit job I took and how I had to do that for some of the troll pants and I hated it, so I decided against top stitching for this project. Also, I'm watching Prince of Persia here and it's not a good movie. I don't remember it being this bad. The game's good though. At this point, the vest was done, but my wig had not come in the mail yet, so I decided to sew some pants and a shirt that I could use for this project. I needed to get them done anyways because it was actually for one of my LARP characters, and I saw the scaly material and was like, oh, that could be interesting for this project. Also sewed a beret too because I had more red lining fabric hanging about, but it wasn't worth filming. Anyways, this is what the bodysuit looked like. Now, before I do the final reveal, I genuinely had and kind of still am experiencing a really bad depression from these past few days and these weeks and even now, and I wanted to showcase some highlights from the past few days that made me feel really good. I had to go to downtown Disney with Garrett so I could pick up these bad boys because if you know me, you know I'm super into this movie and the 20th anniversary is on June 15th and I'm practically celebrating all this month. So while we were at downtown Disney, they had Cruella's car on display, which was very fancy. And I wish I could have taken pictures of this outfit in front of the vehicle, but that's just a lot of spoons that I do not have right now. I went to an antique store with my mom and weirdly came across this preserved candy bar from when the first live action with Glenn Close came out. They wanted $20 for it. I was tempted because you could still technically eat the chocolate, but I passed. And the greatest moment of my week was finally being able to see my son after over a year of separation due to the pandemic. He lives with my mom, and for safety, well, I wasn't able to visit until now. And I just love him so much, and I'm so glad I got to see him. Okay. Thank you for listening to my highlight reel. Here is now the showcase.
Oh, Pongo. It's her. It's that devil woman.
Cruella de Vil. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it.
Peter, darling.
How are you?
Miserable, darling, as usual, perfectly wretched.
How are we gonna do it?
Any way you like, poison them, drown them, bash them in the head. I don't care how you kill the little beast, but do it! And do it now!
Cruella? Isn't that a new fur coat?
My only true love, darling. I live for furs. I worship furs.
I actually ended up watching the film before my model shots and everything, and I really enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it, and that's saying something because I have not enjoyed any of the live actions that came out recently. I thought it was an interesting and better step in a villain live action feature, you know, unlike the disaster that Maleficent was. That's a whole other rant. So I hope you enjoyed that kind of depressing sewing journey. Again, my name is Fawn like a baby deer. I just like to make stuff, and if you want to stick around to watch me make stuff, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the flip side, and hopefully in a better mood with no people living in my house. Bye!
Jennifer's father had in fact awoken from his induced coma the day prior and miraculously seemed to remember everything from the night of the incident. He would give an official statement in secret on November 16th, and multiple parts of his story contradicted what Jennifer had told police. The most significant detail was that she was never tied up, but instead walking around freely and talking with the intruders as if they were friends.
Oh my god, it's a Porsche.